Friday of Labour weekend. Plasterers are done now. They came in on Tuesday and Wednesday and did all the plastering, and came back, when was it, today, and sanded. So it's looking real good, feels really good. It's not much I'm going to have to deal with at all, so a couple of real light sort of specks where there's something stuck on the wall or whatever, but you run over that anyway before you paint. So the plan for this weekend is get the jams on, get the doors in with the tracks, get the bedroom doors properly installed. So that guy needs to be re-plumbed because it's just tacked in at the moment. As you see, the other bedroom door's not even installed, so that's got to go back in. Door handles, architraves, skirting, cavity slider arcs, handle, all the window architraves. So this window has to be foamed and perf rod put in. The bifold needs foaming, perf rod put in. So I'll pick up the paint tomorrow. So that's another thing on the list. We've moved the scaffold so that we can finish the last bits of feet. I've measured that flashing, but haven't ordered it yet, so basically it's going to come across about there somewhere, and then toke off at the edge, and that guy will stay there. Get rid of that big gaping hole, and I'll frame under that and deal with that at the time. What else? Yeah, door handles, hardware, jams, architraves. Then I can paint, so the goal's to be hopefully priming by Saturday or Sunday probably. We'll see how we get on. Not that I'd recommend it, but for anyone retrofitting a door or door handles into their house that doesn't know what they're doing, first step is obviously you want to make sure it's going to fit. I won't go into that because don't try it if you can't get that far. The hinge side was plumb. I usually try and start with that just because it's easier for me. Obviously it bears all the weight, so if you can, but at the same time, if your head isn't level, when the door is hanging, one side will be lower than the other. So you need to start with the higher side, otherwise you'll see at the start, because my head was about a mil out, I was struggling to get the gap at the top right with this jam on the ground. I borderline needed to take it lower, so pack this side plumb. I needed about 5-10 mil on each side of the door, so I just split the difference knowing I'd get it to fit. You gap along the top, you then do by eye. There's sort of differing opinions as to whether you want to pack your head or not, because if your framing sags, then obviously your door will jam, especially with like a ranch slider or something. I'm kind of the opinion that if that sags, you've got a really big problem regardless of whether this will open or not. So I'm going to come back and pack that later, but I wanted to get it to the right height by eye. So that gap is even. Then your other side, I don't even know if you guys can tell, purely by eye. So it is plumb. I've got to pack the bottom here out. It's just got a tiny little kink in, so I've got to pack that out another mil or two. When it gets hard to open it, put a screw in right where you need to drill your hole, a metre up, and depending on your door hardware, 60 or 70 in. And don't put screws where your latch and striker need to go, otherwise you'll just have to pull them out later. So that's kind of the real quick version. I won't go into dealing with a wind or anything like that, but spend as much time as you can fixing the framing. It'll make everything else a hell of a lot easier. Not much to show for you today. Basically just did running around, picking up materials. When I got the paint off a friend who's a decorator, so he gets far better pricing than us. Got all of our architraves and skirting and mouldings and stuff that we need, hopefully. So I'm going to chuck into this door, and I'll get handles and door stops on both, then architraves, the door jambs for the wardrobes, skirting, and if I'm priming this weekend, I'll be a very happy chap. So this is called a wind in the door, and essentially when you're flush on one side, you see it's running out significantly. That's happened because I'm flush to the jib on the inside, which I was working on, but when you come into the room, there's a several mil difference there, and that's just down to anything like gauging in timber or your plastering or door jam or whatever. So basically what I need to do now is center the wind and push the opposite side out. So because the top is hanging towards me here, this corner needs to go that way. Right, door stop's all on. Didn't film it because I needed Jesse's help, but essentially chuck my ruler across the corner of the door and everything to stop it pushing open. Pack out the hinge side with about a 2mm piece of Malfoyd. Pack out the striker side with about 1mm. I'll just pull it from the bottom. There we go. And then join the dots across the head. So, reason I pack that hinge side out, so when you paint it and the door comes round that curve, the build-up of the paint doesn't scratch itself off. So, time to attack a door handle. So I've already got my location, meter off the ground, 60mm in. What you want to do when you look at your instructions, even if you know what you're doing, find out how big the hole is. Some hardware sets will hide, say 54mm. Some will come with a little 25mm centerpiece, so you don't want to dive in and make the mistake of drilling this big ass hole. When something like a 54mm is standard, if in fact you need a 25. So you get these cheap ass wholesale sets for very little. I think they're about $30 or something. And they come with the right size hole saw. So we'll go jump into that. And somewhere I've got a speedball kit too, but I don't know what I've done with it. And that's to drill the other bit.